Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I think we are ready to start this online event about SmartLink. So the protocol that is going to shape the future of our vending industry. Thanks a lot to all of you for being here. And let's start. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Daniele Ioriatti, Head of Sales at Cogges. And I'm supported for this webinar by our experts. I'm going to share the screen so we don't lose time. I hope you can see it. Okay. And here we are. So we have my colleague, Matteo Pegoraro, that is from our R&D department at Cogges. And not only my colleague, because he has a very important part, Matteo and his team, in the development and in this working group that lasted more than 1 year. And we were at Cogges very active in this project. So Matteo has a key role in this. If you remember, if you were there in Rimini, we had the first live demo for the SmartLink. So it's more than an initial, let's say, phase, even though some developments will be required. So a virtual applause to Matteo. Then we have Erwin Wetzel, the General Director of EVA, that will give us some overview at the beginning of the webinar. Then there is me and Robert Fritsch. Robert Fritsch, working at Engeltech, our partner, Cogges partner in Germany, and here because he's expert of telemetry and payment systems, so he will have also an active role in our discussion. So we will have Erwin at first with the overview, why basically the SmartLink is needed, yeah, and why it will shape the future of our industry. Then we will have Matteo digging a little bit more into technical aspects, so giving useful information how all this SmartLink protocol works. And then we will have enough time, hopefully, to answer the questions. By the way, thanks a lot to those of you who sent over the questions during the registration process, very appreciated and helpful. And maybe some questions will be answered during the presentation by Erwin and Matteo. If not, we will have time to cover them. And then you can leave your questions, your comments in the chat. But for the sake of the flow of the presentation, let's leave the questions at the end. And if we will run out of time, then we will address the questions in the let's say feedback email that we will send. So if you want also to send over questions after the webinar, feel free to take note of this address, cogges@cogges.eu, and we will do, as usual, our best to give you the information you need and all the details that you should need. So the boring part that is mine is finished. So let's introduce Erwin now. I will stop sharing my screen. And Erwin, I leave the stage to you. Thanks for being here. And the microphone is yours. I will come back to you for the Q&A afterwards. See you.
Thank you, Daniele, for the introduction. And nothing was boring, I can assure you. This was a very nice introduction, and happy to be there as a speaker as well today to present the SmartLink. Just sharing my screen as well. Work like this. Right, I have a different view. Here we go. Okay. Can you select this?
Yeah,
Good.
we can see your screen, Erwin.
Okay.
You can
Good.
go ahead.
You see a
Just
screen or
enlarge
just a presentation?
the presentation. The
Okay,
presentation.
very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, you see here the
You
very
can
nice...
just enlarge the view.
Ah, yeah, yes, I will do that. Here you go.
Perfect.
Okay, good. So you see the wonderful logo that we developed for the SmartLink, and that we presented during Venditalia, as it was already said by Daniele. And so I'm happy to be here, and thanks for coaches for organizing it, because we really count, of course, on EVA members also to implement it. And so we'll do the introduction of this webinar, and then Matteo will take over with the technical perspective. So the question with which we started was, why did the industry decide to create the SmartLink in the first place? So the vending and unattended retail industry has been successful over the last decades, and there were already existing protocols that you have already all been using, such as MDB, which is more than 30 years old, Executive, that was implemented by MEI many decades ago, and then some variants like the BDV and others that have served well over the last years, but operators have seen there were also limitations and constraints with all these protocols. And the most important is that the environment has changed dramatically. So today, machines are not only isolated devices or boxes that dispense products, but they have become platforms which are now connected, that exchange data with payment systems, with all types of peripherals, with cloud services, with telemetry devices, loyalty applications, and ERP systems as well. So, and of course, that artificial intelligence is also playing a very important role now. And so the challenge is that the communication infrastructure of our industry was largely designed for a different era, where operators were using machines with only a coin mech and a bill validator at that time. So there was no connection, there was no internet, and no exchange of data. So why EVA launched the SmartLink? The first reason was that we have a fragmented industry. You all know that. We rely on all these multiple legacy protocols, which I have just mentioned, and which were readapted for different times. There's a lack of interoperability between the machines and peripherals. MDB revolutionized a bit the payment integration, and at the time, Executive was also a major step forward for the machine communication, because everything was based on the payment system. The difficulty is that they were not designed to work together, especially in a highly connected ecosystem that we currently have today. And as a result, manufacturers spend considerable resources on integrations. Software developers have to support multiple interfaces, and operators face compatibility issues. So every time when you go for innovation, it often requires like customs developments, and operators rely on the technical stuff, on their colleagues to make things, to put them right, to put the peripherals, to make them work and communicate. So instead of focusing on creating value, many companies spend time and money making these systems work together. Sorry, back. So the new market expectations and the strategic visions of the EVA is that the customers' expectations have also changed over the last years. So consumers increasingly expect the same experience from a vending machine that they receive from modern digital services or from retail. So they expect cashless payments, they expect loyalty applications, of course, also wallet and mobile payments, personalized offers, real-time information, and seamless user journeys. So for sure, our industry could not lag behind and had to follow the path of the other industries. Otherwise, we are about to lose especially the younger consumers. And operators also expect to have machines that are able to collect data to optimize routes, to improve uptime, stock management, and have also a better management of their inventories. The industry is also moving to beyond traditional vending, because I mentioned vending and unattended retail. Yeah, you have to keep in mind that this standard is an open one based on OPC UA, where we intentionally mentioned that it's not only for vending, but we embrace also office coffee service and unattended retail, because of course we want to have a broad acceptance across all the continents. That was very important. So no limitations by the means how you sell a product. It has to be quite wide. So we see there's an increased number of smart fridges which are used by operators, coffee corners, kiosks, micro markets, coffee systems which are connected to cloud platform, and environments which are basically AI enabled. And then the connectivity and regulation is also pretty important over the last years, and also now we expect a lot of regulations coming from the European Union, which are related to digital regulations, the Data Act, NIS2 on cybersecurity requirements. We have increasing requirements of data access. And to comply with all these regulations which are related to AI, data security, data exchange, cybersecurity, you need to have communication which are fit for the purpose. That's super important. And so with the old protocols, would be more difficult to match all these requirements. So whether companies like it or not, connectivity and secure data exchange are becoming business requirements, and they will become even more important in the future. That's pretty important. So how we build SmartLink? So the project was initiated first by Confida many years ago, and so the Italian Vending Association, and then Confida said, yeah, this project cannot remain at national level, so we're gonna bring it at EVA level, at European level, and here the standards committee then started to take over this initiative. And yeah, we discussed among the memberships first about the needs of the markets. We got also some support by Politecnico di Milano that did the research, offering different options of application and transport layers. And we looked at all these different options. And then finally, in 2024, we managed to set up a working group with major manufacturers, operators, and suppliers, about 15, 16 experts who know the industry, but are from the membership and also are software developers. And the board of the executive, the board of the EVA said, okay, now we have to move on and be ready by 2026. So we decided to have a lot of working group meetings twice a month. Also some hackathons to check if the software was working. And the objective, of course, was to achieve a continuous alignment between the different stakeholders coming from different segments of the industry. So that has been super efficient. The fact of having a meeting every 2 weeks was allowed everybody to be prepared for each meeting and to make some progress. We had also the support of an expert from OPC UA who was guiding us how to fit into this platform. Mathieu will tell you a bit more about OPC UA and why we chose this architecture. And the final decision was open, interoperable, practical, and implementable. Those were like really the key requirements for this specification. Initially, we said that's the protocol we need for our industry. So the technical concept, just here, quick introduction before I gave over to Matteo. So we have all these separated components. As I said before, we have the machine, the payment, the user interface, and the services, and all these stay modular. We know that operators have the possibility, thanks to the modularity of the vending equipment, to exchange components, to upgrade, to change the user interface. This is everything which is super frequent in the industry. And then we decided that the connection should be done via industrial Ethernet, which is a common standard used in many industries, to connect the different components on a reliable base. And the OPC UA core technology, which is a proven industrial standard used globally by a lot of industries. And that was why we chose OPC UA. It's because there's already a broad acceptance across all the continents, and especially in automatized industry, so very close to what we are doing. And so it enables the high-level communication model from hardware to services. So this is my introduction. I think for you was important to understand why the EVA was behind. There was a requirement from the industry, mostly from operators. I'm sure a lot of operators are also here taking part in this webinar. And that was a strategic vision behind, to be fit for the purpose with a new specification, and to get rid in the next years of these old protocols which cannot cope with the era of digitalization and artificial intelligence. So that's my part. Thank you very much. And I give now the floor to Matteo.
Thank you very much, Erwin. Let me do the technical overview of this protocol. Some concept was already introduced by Erwin. So basically, we know that we start from an industry that still rely on fragmented and outdated protocols, and these protocols are not designed for the modern era of digital vending industry. So building services over this outdated protocol is like custom engineering every time, because you need to integrate things on something that was not thought for that purpose. So thinking on that and trying to build a future-proof protocol, we start from the base, so starting from solid foundation. So we decide to use as a base technology the TCP/IP connection that is at the base of nowadays all the communication. Now it's internet, I say internet, but now over internet you can do anything from streaming video up to real-time comments and etc. Over that, we decide to opt for the OPC UA standard because it's a robust industrial grade standard and also interoperable and portable on different platforms. On top of everything, on top of everything, we designed our SmartLink protocol, again, to be future-proof. Okay, why OPC UA for the vending market? Basically, because it is really a standard. Is a standard recognized by International Electronical Committee. Is a open industrial standard, vendor independent, and built for secure and reliable data exchange in a heterogeneous environment. It is directly maintained by the OPC UA. That is a consortium, basically a consortium for the automatic, for industrial automation, but is widely extending also in other markets. So officially selecting the OPC UA as our foundational framework bring the involvement of this consortium. This means that they are going to grant that any further development, even initiated from other companies or organizations that still sit on the unattended relay using OPC UA technology, must comply with the specification we drove. So basically, being the first put the obligation to adopt the same framework, the same protocol we design. So OPCA is not just about connecting the device. It creates a modern integration architecture that can grow over the time. How it works? It is intended to be based on different layers. I'm going to explain how each layer works. So at the base, the blue layer here, we have the OPC defined layers. So the basic model, specification models built in on the protocol that are basically how the machine, how the device are going to communicate with each other, or standard communication channel. At the mid layer, the red one, there is the companion specification model. And as a working group, we defined the companion specification model for the unattended retail. So SmartLink at base defined this companion specification model that is a layer of communication that is going to be maintained by EVA through his working group, and is going to be stable and consistent across all the implementation. And the topmost layer, vendor specific one, is a layer that is available for each producer to do their own extension. This means that in case you need to build on top of the SmartLink protocol other additional services, you can do that in the vendor specific extension without touching the companion specification model. So this companion specification model will remain untouched as a core element that grants the integration across different manufacturers, but you have all the freedom to extend it with your vendor specific extension. Another important point is that, well, of course, the companion specification model is a document, well, quite extended document, around 130 pages for the moment. But along with it, we provide a sort of a map. So the interfaces defined in the companion specification model are described in a XML file called nodeset. That is a sort of a map of how each component interacts with the other. So defining the interface, defining the data that can be exchanged. Why this nodeset file? This nodeset file is put in a machine readable format in order to let each implementer to compile it into working code. This means that it's no longer needed to read a document, interpret it, and make the implementation. Just take the node set, generate the code, compliance with the OPC-UA, compliance with the SmartLink protocol. So this is a format to well, not let each company do their own implementation, do their own interpretation, but also speed up the development. Okay, so let's enter one step at a time about the protocol, how he defined the new ecosystem. So legacy protocol, we know, was basically built around two main components. One was the vending machine, the other one the payment system. And well, basically all additional functionality was built around these two roles with great limitation. At that time was a good choice, is functional, but very limited in flexibility and evolution. So the first big change is architectural. Instead of thinking of two monolithic blocks, we decided to bring down the design into smaller, more specialized blocks. Each block, well, obviously each block connected to the other via standard interface. Well, each block has its own clear role and its standard interface. This means that here we have the base functionality, but even newer functionality or evolution over this protocol is going to be easier because it's just a matter of adding a new functionality. I mean, as another block here, still rely on the same interface. So this is why we claim that this protocol is really future-proof, because it's not stick to the old scenario where you just have two elements in your machine. Now you have a set of elements already defined, but the set can be extended for future needs. Okay, as we said, each component exposes a standard role, and this focalized on his specific role. Pay attention that the role here are just functional components. So multiple functional components can be implemented on the same hardware. If you see a block here, it doesn't mean that must be a different device. Could be this block can be integrated in any device, although it continue to communicate via the SmartLink protocol. So basically, we have the, let's describe briefly the role we defined. The machine engine, that is basically the core component of the machine itself. It takes care of the dispensing of the product, providing the list of available services, and reporting the status of the delivery. We have the payment service that take charge of managing all the payment process. So taking care of the transaction, the listing the payment modes available in the system, and collecting the price information from the other device. Other devices that are, as example, payment price service. Sorry, I typo here. Price service is in charge of, is the element specialized on defining the price on the base of the information provided by the system. So the selection, the user, the media, etc. One important thing, multiple price service can be chained to, for example, this primary price service can be in charge of defining standard price, while the secondary price service could be just in charge of applying discounts or promotion or whatever. We have the UI system, that is the interaction with the user. So is it will present the selection, will present the price, will take the interaction, will take care of the interaction with the user. The payment device, of course, that could be cash or cashless. And one important thing, the audit collector is a central unit that gathers standardized audit events from all the components. But for telemetry, for example, collecting the data, what's happening in the system for telemetry, or just recording it for tax audit. Okay. How did the protocol define the interface of each component? Well, the protocol gives a clear description of the element by defining who is it, what it does, what it reports, and how other components can interact with it. Here I have an example of the payments service. So we have an interface for the identity where I can publish the manufacturer, product code, software version, or whatever information is needed to identify the device. The status, so availability, the payment availability, and various other status that will be required. Then I have the inputs methods, green one. So the UI can query the payment service to know which payments modes are available, can query for a specific price information by giving the selection, user, etc., or asking for delivery. On the other side, the payment service can well send the price information to other device or command the delivery of the product to the vending machine. We will see how it really works. So, saying that the theoretical part, how is the flow of the new protocol? Here, just an example to let me introduce properly the flow command. Obviously, is a simplified version. But it's just to give you an idea. So let's imagine that at the boot up sequence, the user interface query the machine engine for available products. So the machine engine will respond with a list of products. So the product can be presented to the user. After that, let's imagine that a user select a product. So the UI will ask for price information to the payment service. Then payment service will query this information to the primary price service that is changed to the secondary price service. In this case, the example, I have a secondary price service that defines that this specific selection is eligible for a discount. So the price returned is a combination of the two price services. Once the payment service provides this information to the UI can present it to the user. When the user confirms the selection, the UI will query the payment service to perform the payment. So will command for the sale. Payment service will require the payment devices connected for gathering the correct amount. Once it's confirmed, it will send the confirmation, so deliver command to the machine engine. In this case, machine engine will start dispensing the product and sending progress to the UI. Once dispensed, the product, machine engine provided the confirmation both to the UI to prompt the user and also to payment service to ensure that the transaction is closed. Obviously, this is just the happy part. I mean, nothing went wrong. The product was dispensed, but you can figure out how can be managed a failed dispensing or a similar scenario. Of course, at the moment I didn't picture out the audit unit, but at the end of the transaction, all the device involved will send the audit information to the audit unit. Well, it's not just theory. I mean, this is how it's described in the document, how it was developed in the demo software, but we made a real implementation. A group of companies that were part of the working group developed a system that we present in Venditalia. Well, here just a schematic representation. So, for example, what we showed in Venditalia, we had a UI service developed by Ascoian Group, connecting to a machine engine, still from an Ascoian Group, but also to a machine engine developed by Hofemar. Yet a payment service developed by us and a price service developed by us. So basically, this was the scenario. So this to demonstrate the interoperability of the protocol. One notes, well, you can see with the blue line here, the components that communicated via SmartLink. Obviously, we weren't on time to develop everything over SmartLink. So, for example, our payment service was an hybrid implementation that was communicating via SmartLink to the components, compliance components like machine engine, but was still using legacy protocol with the payment device. So realizing this hybrid solution. Okay, I think that is important to say that I will recap it later. Okay, what are the key advantages for the operator? Well, the claim here is the real impact is not only technical, it's operational, economic, and strategic. Why? Well, basically, we have a modular design that gives more freedom in choosing components. It's because the machine is no longer relying on tightly integrated system. The roles are splitted in specialized functionality to make easier to introduce new services or well, combine them in a different way, in a more dynamic way. The price is dynamic, so can be defined by multiple price services, and maintenance also is very easier because we have more fine-grained distribution of the role. We have more visibility because all the communication, all the audit information are delivered to the central audit unit. It will be more easier for the telemetry or ERP to gathering the key information about the components. All the communication is made secure at the base thanks to the technology provided by the OPC UA that has a built-in security. And well, we expect that with this scenario, the adoption of new protocol will make the machine more future-proof in terms of maintenance, technology, and evolution. Why this matter for the future? As explained by Erwin, the idea is not just to develop a protocol for the vending market, but make the a protocol more open to interoperate in other scenario, to make to support new type of machine or new type of digital services supporting new customer journey. Thanks to the making the easier to connect the machine with payment, but also with the UI, with the telemetry, with the other high-level system. The idea is to be able to innovate without redesigning. I mean, I no longer need to redesign the machine or redesign the payment system to add the new services. I can just add as additional elements in the new protocol. Well, having more modern, modular and extensive architecture is a long-term investment, is a platform for innovation in unattended retail. What's next? Well, about how we are going what we are going to see in the next weeks. The new protocol is currently under a release candidate stage. It's going to be approved by the OPC consortium. Meanwhile, the SmartLink working group is going to continue working, well, to add extend functionality and to ensure compatibility. I mean, nothing will enter into officially in the new protocol until the EVA's working group accept it and include it in the companion specification. Also, the compliance will be granted also outside the EVA by the OPC consortium. So OPC consortium will play a key role in ensuring that this protocol is going to be the base for any unattended retail scenario that use OPC EVA. Keep in mind that, well, for sure, we have the protocol itself is not going to change the installed base overnight. We need to take care, consider that there will be a transitional period where legacy protocol will live along with the SmartLink business system. And like the example I showed you during Venditalia, so payment service that speaks SmartLink on one side, but can support also payment devices that still stay on legacy protocol. Okay, I went a little bit longer than expected. Sorry. Thank you for your attention. And I think I've done. Now let room to Q&A.
Yeah, I take the microphone. Thank you, Matteo and Hervin, for your set of information that were useful. And I would jump into the Q&A. As said, I will prioritize the ones that came before the event. And we can start addressing. I will try to, as a good moderator as I am, I will try to address to the best person we have. And we can start. Maybe the first one that came was already answered during the presentation. So basically, what are the main advantages of SmartLink compared with EVA DTS or executive protocols, so the old protocols? I think here, if you want, just with one sentence, Matteo, try to clarify once more, reinforce, because I think this is the first question that every time comes when we think about SmartLink. Yeah. So why? Yeah. So if you can just in one sentence.
Yeah. Well.
Or two.
Well, true. Thank you. Thank you. Well, basically, we no longer have just two-player payment system and vending machine, but a more extended ecosystem, so more modular design, and there is no longer master slave role. So the the communication between each device is asynchronous. So I think this is the main big advantage of this protocol. So not stick on two elements role like it was in the executive scenario.
So the modules, yeah. Okay, then we had which manufacturers are already involved in the SmartLink project. Yeah, maybe this, Erwin, as an overview, you can maybe say a few words on that.
Yeah, sure. For sure, those who are in the working group are trying to implement it. But from the experience we had at Venditalia, we have of course the Ascoian group with all the companies involved. I mean, we see today with the webinar with Coges. Jorge Mare is working on it. Bianchi. Those are the manufacturers who have already made some progress. But we know also some other machine manufacturers who are now trying to roll it out internally.
Okay, thank you. And is there a roadmap for manufacturers to include SmartLink in standard versions? Basically, maybe we can translate this with when we will be all ready for it. Yeah, I think it depends on the speed of each one. Yeah, and the teamwork that we do on the implementation of the SmartLink. But I don't know, maybe Matteo, do you want to say something on top of my general sentence?
I can speak for the Ascoian group. I can say that we, being part of the working group since the beginning, we have the expertise in the knowledge needed. We also have the technical readiness, thanks to the implementation made for Venditalia and all the demo. So, of course, this, as I said, is technical readiness. There are still no plan to deploy or machine that are SmartLink, supporting SmartLink out of the box. We can say our system are SmartLink ready. Not
Let's say that the foundation, the foundation is there, but of course the building then needs to be
and also coming from the legacy market, we can claim that we can already support out of the box the hybrid installation. I mean, payment system made by Coges could eventually works as a bridge from the old devices to the new SmartLink protocol.
Maybe Erwin, you might have, because there was a question also about the timeline, you might have some details about the timeline of the release of the protocol spec.
Yeah, because now we have the release candidate. That means that OPC Foundation members can send some amendments and comments, but the final version will be ready by the end of August. And then, as I said at the beginning, my introduction is completely open, meaning that any company can try to implement it. Coming back to the roadmap, that's something that we continue discussing also at board level. We want to identify some frontrunners, champions, such as Ascoian, for example, from the supplier side, from the OEM side, pushing to implement EVA SmartLink and having, of course, devices which are enabled with SmartLink. And we are also in contact with some key operators, large operators across Europe, who are completely convinced by this new specification and who want to buy, of course, new machines and devices based on SmartLink. So it's a combination of both. Suppliers and operators have to work together. Operators won't wait suppliers to be ready, and I know that some suppliers are waiting a bit, saying, okay, the pressure is not coming yet from the market, but we have large operators in different countries who will be pushing for that, which is pretty good. And of course, we keep alive our working group also in the next years, because it's not a finished specification. There will be some feedback from the different players, and we will have to implement them in the specification. So we will have different versions and amendments. So it's a living document, living specification, like we had with the MDB, where we are now in version 5.2 or something like this. So it's gonna be the same case. We start now with the specification, of course, thanks to the expertise, we will be able to make some improvements as well. But to be honest, I think next year, 2028, I think we could expect probably the first devices ready. And one of the target would be, for example, Venitalia 2028, to have like a good bunch of suppliers now with completely SmartLink enabled products.
Thanks again, Erwin. And next question was, how will SmartLink manage manufacturer-specific features? This was answered during the presentation by Matteo. You remember the 4 layers that we had. So there is still space for customization, so to say, but founded on a real, like a big block of 3 layers that are, let's say, a standard for the industry. Matteo, anything to add on that? I don't want to steal your
I
role.
think that's no problem. You address it correctly. One key point is that working on the vendor layer ensure that you are not breaking the lower layer. So lower layer are maintained as it, granting the interoperability. Just work on top.
Good. Then we have a particular question, probably. Will there be an initial negotiation phase for capabilities, machine configuration, recipes, and parameters? So how to set up everything? Is there a negotiation or I don't know, Matteo again, do you want to say anything?
Well, as we saw, the new protocol define clearly the interface of each element. So each element will expose the services, capabilities, its capability, which command they take in, which command he provide. But this is obviously limited to the protocol specification scope. If instead we are speaking about how to interact with the configuration of the machine, like I'm seeing, for example, the recipes and parameter of the machine, not part of the protocol, but part of the configuration. Well, this SmartLink protocol doesn't cover a common way to expose the configuration. It's left to the each manufacturer, but it exposes a common channel to do the configuration. So the OPCOA SmartLink protocol include a method called base configuration in order to permit to a remote configuration tool compliance with that protocol to access the configuration of the machine. But the content of this configuration is left to the vendor implementation, is out of the scope of the protocol.
Good. And then are PlugFests or compliance validation tools planned? I think here we are talking about the hackathons, the so-called hackathons. And yes, they are planned, Matteo. From a technical point of view, it was the way all the project was conducted, right? With
exactly, with
tests and all around the table, so to say.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. It was the way we developed the protocol in the working group. I suppose since it was quite productive, this formula will be also extended to the future implementation.
Okay, and then I think we have the last one of the pre-filled questions. I will, because the last one is repeating what we just said. So how will SmartLink support telemetry similar to MDB comms gateway operation?
Well, let me say, can I respond? All right.
You have
let's
to.
Say that
I cannot.
Okay, let's say that basically the telemetry part is out of the scope of this version of the protocol. Although, as I already mentioned, there an element that is the audit collect unit that with the scope of centralizing this information. So, for example, if we speak about collecting data from the machine to deliver them to the telemetry, this is a specialized function of the audit collector unit. Obviously, any additional feature or bidirectional communication need to be an extension of this functionality or a new functionality. But as I said, at the moment, the telemetry communication is out of the scope of this version of the protocol. Will be for sure addressed in future.
Very good. Thank you, Matteo. And I'm happy to see that many questions came live during the presentations. And I would start with the first one. Not sure from the slides, okay, if any additional hardware will be needed for this protocol to work.
I reply, well, basically, since the base communication channel is the TCP/IP, so providing an internet connection will be sufficient to permit to your device, in terms of hardware, I mean, to your device to communicate with the new protocol. Then all the rest is just a matter of a software implementation using SDK and so on.
Perfect. And will it be possible? I mean, is there a retrofitting possibility for older machines? So without the, let's say, the SmartLink protocol?
Yes and no. Let me explain. I mean, we are aware that we are going to face in a transitional period. So for sure, some implementation can work as a bridge. So it's quite open, this question. I can reply for our experience. If you are using an MDB cashless reader, you can integrate with a payment device that support, a payment service that support on one hand the SmartLink protocol, on the other hand the MDB protocol. So in this case, it's yes. In the case of, I don't know, the vending machine itself, well, I don't have direct experience, but can be feasible in another way, probably.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And before moving to the next question, maybe, I don't know, Thomas, if you want to add something, because you have this position as in between, yeah? Because me and Matteo, we are on the payment and telemetry side. There is the association with Erwin, but you are, let's say, in the market as a collector, let's say, of feedbacks and comments from OEMs, of course, being our partner in Germany, and telemetry. So you see different, so to say, layers of the architecture nowadays in the industry and in the machine. So how, if you want just to comment briefly how you see it from your standpoint, to give Robert, sorry, Robert, I misunderstood. Yeah, sorry. Any word from your side?
You mean about the latest question to integrate with legacy systems, or?
Sorry, I didn't hear. I heard some voices, but.
You mean about the integration with legacy or with
yeah, because you have a different angle, yeah, from compared to ours, so to say.
Yeah, I agree to the former response. There will be some ways to integrate actual MDB or systems or payment systems based on the MDB protocol, but for sure it might be a challenge to integrate with like 10 or 20-year-old machines, or even some of the actual machines, because the SmartLink needs to be integrated within the machine to fully support it, and this might be challenging for some manufacturers. And as you said, there is a transition period where both the current world and the SmartLink world will stand each by another, right?
Yeah. Thank you. I think we are running out of time, Christine. And okay, as said, we are going to answer all the questions in the, let's say, offline, so after the webinar. So I thank everybody for being here. I hope it was useful. For sure, we will have more information going forward. Yeah, again, thank you very much. And let's stay tuned on the SmartLink future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to all.